The holidays are here. Wouldn't it be fun to have your children learn something new and exciting that is not taught in school? If yes, Kids Speak is what you and your child need at this time. We are launching an online summer program that would help keep your kid busy and engaged. Here, your child will be able to learn multiple different languages like Yoruba, Igbo, Swahili, French, Mungaka, and Mandarin, to name a few. It has been proven that young children are able to learn new languages faster than adults. Kids Speak also includes many fun programs that help the kids learn and play at the same time. Kids Speak covers a wide variety of programs. Whether it be sewing, cooking, baking fish roll, or coding, Kids Speak is your one-stop shop. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up at www.kid2speak.com and make your summer easier and happier.
Very talented young people who have decided to follow.
Then another year it starts again. Well, this is different.
We shall definitely be talking to these wonderful people. Once again, we urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys, winds are out of the north at Midway Airport.
Rice and beans. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this beautiful set.
It's not about this.
This is the inside account of a week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
Right, essentially trying to inculcate into this. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, aka Alinko, and we are glad to be coming away. Just bear with me. I think I do not have my microphone set on well. We shall be we shall be back after this break. Well, you're welcome to this special edition of the Progressive Mind Show. As you are all aware, we here every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Today being Tuesday, we decided to do this special edition. It is Black History Month, and we have been learning about our own history as Africans, diasporans. We are, learning, and I think I really, really want to appreciate Black History Month because each year, as we celebrate Black History Month, it brings a lot of things into perspective. And as African, it reminds me always of who I am, where I'm from, where I stand, and where I'm going. And I personally think that even though I am an African, Black History Month is not only pertain to African American. I feel like the history of African American and Caribbeans, their story, I feel, is very much connected to that of the African. I hope and wish that sometime in our lifetime or very soon in Africa, we can have something similar, or maybe in other in the individual African countries, we can have days or months that we'll set aside to celebrate our history, not just celebrating our history, but also learning more of our history, where we come from, where our ancestors are from, what they had contributed to this society. And I think that it will go a long way in helping us understand knowing who we are. As I said, I chose today to treat this subject that I know a lot of Africans talk about in our homes, at our workplaces. These are supposed to be in-house conversations. And I know I'm not the only one that talks about it. I think the only difference is that I just like to have an open conversation. I always want to encourage an open dialogue when it comes to these things that I feel are very necessary when it comes to the African diaspora. Again, my name is Alinko. This is the Progressive Mind Show. We are here Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. This is where we build our community by engaging dialogues, engaging you, the community, folks in the community, in dialogues that are geared or designed to make our society better. Someone will ask, why the subject? And we've done a couple of these on the Progressive Mind Show. If you are an avid follower, or if you know Alinko, if you have had some experience with the Progressive Mind Show, we do these things very often. We don't only talk about it on our platform, but we also have created events. We curate events that are designed to help foster better harmony within the African diaspora. And so I chanced on one of the videos that that has been circulating on social media, specifically on WhatsApp. I belong to a couple WhatsApp groups, and as usual, we share information, videos of motivational videos, some just funny videos. These things are normal. We do that. We do it all the time, and be it political, cultural, whatever, entertainment, whatever it is, you can find them on some of these WhatsApp platforms. So there's one that I came across, which happened to be an interview that I think was done by this is a breakfast show or Breakfast Club show. It is a show that's run by Charlemagne the God and two other hosts. There are three hosts on that show. And I don't know the lady that was being hosted, the guest on that show. I don't know her name, but there's a clip, or there's a reel from an interview that was done, that Charlemagne the God had done with another lady. And she made a comment, or she responded to a question. Do Africans look down on Black Americans? I think that was a question that was posed to her. I don't think that was the exact question that was posed to her. And so when I saw it, it kind of resonated with me, because for some of my friends who are watching me now, that I engage in these discussions. Sometimes I'm overzealous, so I don't communicate clearly what I really mean, which is not to be divisive, but to look at where we are and see what we can do to move forward, because there's no moving forward if we are not repairing what has been if we're not repairing the brokenness. Nobody can move forward. Nothing can, even a car will not move forward. A car that is broken will not keep moving if it's not fixed. And so my thing is looking at what has been broken and then see how we can fix it. So that means fixing what has been broken means talking about it. Talking about some of the issues that separate us as a bigger Black community. And so I'd like to play that video. And then we can begin the conversation about, do Africans look down on African Americans? I think I have the video queued up. Here it is.
forward to that.
Do Africans really look down on Black American people?
No, I think Africans, I would say specifically for Nigerians. Nigerians are proudful people. We look down on other Nigerians. So it's not even, and it's not even that we're looking down. We're just always looking up. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not in our purview, we don't see you.
That's a word.
So it's perspective shift. And so for us, like I tell people all the time, like, because it used to be like when I would meet other African Americans, like they would know nothing about me. Like, oh, so you African? So what, you think you better than us? And I'd be like, listen, man, we think we better than everybody. Because my father would be like, if the black man does it, do it better. If the white man does it, surpass him. If the Asian man does it, finish him. It's just like, okay. Like, that's like the household I grew up in. It's like nobody's your competition except for the person that you're trying to advance over. So it's just like, who is in your purview? Get them out. Like, why are they even there? Like, why did you even give them an opportunity to be better than you?
That's the mentality you should have, though.
And so that's why I'd be tripping when people were like, oh, so you smart? Yes. I worked hard to be smart. Like, getting a B, I would cry because my mom would literally be like, so the person who got an A, what were they doing? And why were you not doing it? Like, I don't know. They just know math better than me, Mom. But it was just like, that's unacceptable. We came over here and gave you opportunities, so do better.
Okay, so let me begin with her last statement. We came over here to give you an opportunity, so do better. Now, what I'm about to say is not an attack on my dear sister, because I know she's Nigerian American, or American Nigerian. And this is not about, it's not meant to be negative at all. But this is my observation. And again, I want to begin my talk on the last statement she made. We came over here to give you an opportunity to do better. So do better. And so that is a very good advice. That is how it's supposed to be. That is how, typically that's how African parents would advise us. I would try and answer my brother, Charlemagne the God, directly, the question he posed. I'll try to answer it directly. But again, I want to start with what my sister, the way my sister ended. The conversation continues. I think there were other things. It ends there with, at least with a clip. It ends there with her. She says, by what she said. It is true that Africans come here and our parents and maybe generations before them came here to work hard. A lot of them did menial jobs, drove taxis to give those who were born here, the Africans who were born here, and even those that were filed for, so we can come here and join our parents. We know they sacrificed a lot. And I love the word that she used. She said, we came here to find an opportunity for you. She said, we, which means her parents. Her parents will be in the age of my parents, 60s, 70s, 80s, all right, Africans, age-wise. They came here to look for opportunity. We know as Africans, we all know that a lot of us, including the ones, our parents who came here, escaped and are currently escaping from Africa. And we're not escaping because the sun over there is too hot and we can stand it. No, it's because a lot of factors, including our politicians, have made life a living hell in Africa. They're not necessarily shooting and killing us every day, which is something that is going on in some African countries. But you have extreme hardship in Africa. And so we're not necessarily just trying to migrate and come to America and maybe check it out and, work hard, but it's more of an escape. We don't want to deal with the hardship. Anywhere than Africa is better. Anywhere than Africa will be okay. And that is why you would see young people today, a whole bunch of young people today, dying on the high seas, risking their life just to go anywhere. I'm from Ghana and I know the issue of stowaway. Stowaway is how sometimes Africans, young Africans, would hide themselves in, all kinds of situations. But we know what stowaway is. But my point is that we are willingly coming here, not under slavery anymore, but we are willingly coming here in droves to seek for opportunities, which is what my dear sister said her parents came to find for them. But let's ask ourselves, the opportunities that we are coming to find in America, though, somebody made those opportunities happen. Somebody worked hard and created those opportunities, which the African has nothing to do with. Maybe the only thing we have to do with the opportunities that were created here is our resources that were stolen or taken from us, from our land. It's another story to be told. How our ancestors resisted or wasn't able to resist enough, how we were conquered, how the entire Africa was conquered, sub-Saharan Africa was conquered, and we were taken to the Americas, including our resources. It's another whole story to be had. My point is that somebody sweat and blood prepared America for our parents to come and find opportunities so that they can provide us a better life. Those Africans that were born here and Africans that were filed for to come here after the opportunities has been sought and made and prepared for us. So let's ask ourselves, how were those opportunities, how did those opportunities come into existence? Who made those opportunities possible? America is great, but human beings built it. Human beings made it possible. And who are those particular human beings? Europeans, white people, and African Americans. And if you know the story, that's why I said earlier, the Black history is so important. Because what they did not teach us back in Africa in the schools, now we can learn and see how African Americans, our brothers and sisters, the Caribbeans, how they came here and suffered and had to build a very thriving economy for us to come and enjoy. So our parents can come here and find opportunities for us to come enjoy. And we can also find opportunities. Now we also have the opportunity to be able to, we have the chance to look for opportunities for our unborn children and the children you have given birth to and our siblings and relatives that we are filing for to come here. My point is, thinking about that alone should give out the African the impetus to look at the African American and the Caribbean, the African diasporans, African Americans, Caribbeans, especially the Black Americans, from a very respectable viewpoint. Because if you came here and if you are still coming here to look for opportunities, it didn't fall from the sky. I am not here to tell you everything or tell you the history and the contribution of African Americans, because I know a lot of you already have seen it and know it. But one thing that I think we forget as Africans is that we are not paying attention to the sacrifice. I think we're not showing enough gratitude to our fellow African Americans for the hard sacrifice, the pains that they had to go through to build what we are seeing today. You see, I made a point earlier that we are escaping hardship. A lot of us, of course, a few came via scholarship, but majority of Africans come here for what we are coming for. We are escaping poverty, extreme poverty. And when we talk about poverty, I know people say there's poverty in America everywhere. There's poverty everywhere. There's poverty in America. Yes, we know that. California has homeless people, Chicago, everywhere, New York, Hollywood, even though it's Hollywood, it still have poor people. There are poor people everywhere. But if you compare on the average, poor people in America versus poor in Africa, look, you haven't seen poor poverty if you haven't lived in certain parts of the country. And if you only judging poverty from this angle, from the American perspective, because I've seen some poverty here, but even the homeless people here, I've seen how they get help. They sleep in, they give them tents. People are always giving them food. You know, like we've seen some real poverty in Africa. My point is, Africa is not hell. It is the cradle of civilization. It has all the natural resources that the whole world comes to feed on. I get it. But what I said earlier is that our politicians and a lot of factors have made it so difficult for people to survive. And so when people are poor, they are poor to the stupor. They are poor to the unbelievable degree. They are poor to the point where you can only shake your head. It's unbelievable the type of poverty that we have in Africa, even though we have made strides and we keep making strides. So what I'm saying is that when we come here, a lot of Africans don't want to have anything to do with poverty because we are running away from it. And so sometimes what blinds us is that when we come to Americas, or we come to America and we see fellow blacks and we see some black people are black Americans living in poverty or living a poverty kind of lifestyle or living a low lifestyle, we kind of prejudge the whole black American community and think, oh, okay, this is who they are. I don't want to be like that. I'm running away from that. I don't want to associate with that. So sometimes that kind of triggers something in our head and we don't want to associate with that type of poverty. So it kind of influences our attitude towards them. This is one of the reasons why when African Americans see us, they think that we look down on them because we kind of exhume some type of attitude when we see especially some African Americans who are leading or who are living low lives. And there are low lives in African American community. There are some in white communities, Caucasian, Asian, everywhere. Well, Asian, you don't see a lot, but there are low lives everywhere. My point is, let me get back to the sister's point. So when we come here and we kind of take advantage of the opportunities that some people have created for us, we have to pay attention to how is it that Africans are able to come here and go to school. We have to ask ourselves, if when we file for FAFSA, we apply for FAFSA or FAFSA, then when we're trying to go to school, when we naturalize and become citizens and we can vote and we can partake in the democratic process of this country, how was that possible? How I think we have to ask ourselves that, because that wasn't the design. The person who enslaved, the people who enslaved us didn't have intention to prepare America for us so that we can leave Africa and come here and have freedom and have liberty and partake in the democratic process. No, but we are able to come here and go to school and naturalize and file for certain jobs and apply for certain jobs and apply for certain homes and certain schools because some African Americans learned that, championed that cause. We know about the civil rights movement, which has given everybody in this country, including whites, Asians, and other races, to be able to partake in the democratic process, including Africans. If we are able to do these things, we have to pay attention. We have to realize that somebody created it. And as a result, those people who created it, we don't necessarily have to be walking around and saluting our African Americans every day, but we should know that so that when we see them, it would affect our attitude towards them because it's energy. What we perceive in the mind affects our body language when we meet people. We don't kind of have any type of situation with white people because in our head, or Europeans, because in our head, they did everything. They provided everything. So, so when we meet them, we have a good feeling about that because we know that we know they are good. They've done great things. They this is their country. Their country is beautiful. We are in their country. So of course we have to be nice to them and all of that, right? So we don't necessarily have an issue dealing with other races. But when we see our fellow African Americans, we know that. I'm not here to say it. We already know it. Our attitude is not always 100%, and I'm not saying all Africans, but we know a lot of Africans fall guilty to this. So, fought to this situation. What the other point I was trying to make is the young lady in that interview, and I'm going to play the interview again for those of you who just joined. The young lady in that interview also said that when she was asked, do Africans look down on African Americans? She said, well, Nigerians, she'll speak for Nigerians. Nigerians just look down on everybody. They look down at Nigerians, look down on Nigerians, because of the motivation they get. If you're not in their purview, they're not seeing you. They don't look down on you. They don't only look down on you, but they look up. Like they always want to look up. Good attributes. And my brother Charlemagne responded, he's like, yeah, that's an attitude all of us should have. Yes, and I agree. The danger in that statement is, I feel, that the fact that you have to strive for the best and be your best doesn't necessarily have to be, should not also equate the attitude of, I'm going to take away everybody that is up there. Why should you be up there? I'm going to kick you out and be there. I think, you see, the reason why I'm saying this is that it is, that sound, I'm not saying she's being tribalistic or she that's not what I'm saying. But being an African, I have seen that kind of attitude that you are not in my purview or you are not in my class because I belong to this clan. The attitude of I am better because remember she said, we look down on fellow Africans, fellow Nigerians. It doesn't feel good when I hear that, because in order for you to thrive, you don't have to look down or necessarily walk over or feel superior, because there's a danger, that there's a fine line there. That attitude can literally lead to some type of superiority complex, which is also equal to tribalism. Now, I'm talking as an African. She's African, so I can bring it home. And this show is mainly to my African community, to my African brothers and sisters. The reason why I'm doing this is that we have to, that attitude she mentioned is powerful, and Nigerians have it. And a lot of African countries, Africans have it too, but Nigerians, everybody knows this about Nigerians. They are awesome people, but here is the real truth. I mean, are we really, really Nigerians, Togo and Tanzania, Uganda? These were names that were given to us. These are names that were given to us. Before, Africans were not, we were not Ghana, Togo, Benin, Uganda, Zambia, Sierra Leone. We were not these names. We were not these names. We were kingdoms, tribes, and that existed. One of the issues that we had, though, was the issue of tribalism. Before we were given these names, the reason why I'm talking about this is that, you see, I'm saying this to say that even though she's saying we Nigerians, it is originally Nigerians. It's not Nigerians were not called Nigerians. They are Africans. So in essence, if I were to do, in essence, I'm from Ghana, but I could be related to someone in Nigeria, right? Actually, there's a history there, how we migrated and went to sojourn in different places in Africa, So in essence, Africans, we are all related. If you go down the lane, it's all, one big family that moved away from each other and separated and lived because of the different tribes. And one of the problems we had because we were different tribes was that we were fighting each other because at a point in time, some tribes felt they were better than others. So there were tribal issues, right? And these tribal issues that we were exerting towards each other kind of motivated Europeans to take advantage of, because nobody can tell me that Africans were not practicing indentured slavery. We were. We will fight other tribes. When we conquer them, we'll take them as slaves, the whole nine. We know the stories. So the attitude of other Nigerians, technically Africans, looking down, because she said it. Some Africans do that. We think we're better than others. She has a point by saying that we are motivated to do better and all of that. But when you go down, deep down, subconsciously, deep down in that story, the reality of what she's saying, I'm picking that. And please, my sister, I'm not holding this against you, but this is something that has been prevalent. And so I want to address it. If you ever see this and you disagree with me, I beg you, let's have a conversation. And then I'm not attacking you, but I want to use the opportunity to address something that has been heard in Africans, because I believe that this attitude of we look down on fellow Nigerians, technically saying, I'm interpreting that Africans looking down on fellow Africans, because what? We believe some tribes feel they have certain traits that are better than other tribes, right? And so because of that, we are superior to you, and we can do certain things, and then we show that. Now, guess what's going to happen? The tribe that you were exerting that type of superiority complex over, they're not just going to sit down and take it all the time. They're going to rebel. They're going to also try to show you that, hey, you ain't it. I'm not saying it. These are the reasons why we had tribal wars and so forth in Africa. One of the reasons why the Europeans took advantage, and one of the reasons why they actually engaged, one of the reasons why they took advantage of this habit of us. Because we know that Europeans did not just come to Africa 1 year, boom, and started slavery. No. It took time. They watched us. They studied us. They knew our God and our religion and our spirituality was everything to us. They knew we had family values. They knew we had all the spices and the resources, but they also watched our weakness. And I think for Africans, if you don't Okay, so I think that I don't know if I lost the please let me know if you can hear me or not. For some reason I'm getting the feedback that I may have lost the feed. Like my microphone is not working or something. So please let me know if that's the case. This show is not going to take that long. We're just going to do 1 hour, and we shall be out of here. So again, if you're watching and the volume is not coming through, the sound is not coming through, please let me know. I'm just getting that signal now. So what I'm saying is that we as Africans have this attitude of being better than another. We see it played out. One of the reasons why the Rwanda war took place was because of tribalism. One tribe feeling better than the other. We have these attributes, we have this, we are like this, we are like that. And so it ensued and continued. Before you knew it, we started killing each other. It happened in Liberia. Go to Ethiopia. The Oromos are being killed, and they're not being killed by foreigners, but they're being killed by their own fellow Ethiopians because of tribal sentiments. Because one tribe feels they're superior to another. I saw this clearly in the comment my sister made, which is the danger there's the danger that I want us to look at. This, which is something that has been eating up the fiber of the African, I'll say, relationship of the African unity for a long time. So guess what? It's easy for us to transfer that type of attributes to the United States when we come here. We already have that. I'm from Ghana, and I've seen tribalism play out a lot everywhere. And so we already have that in us. So it's easy for us to show that off when we meet fellow Blacks. But the interesting thing is that we don't do it to other races who don't look like us. We only do it to ourselves. So an African can meet, let's say, a Mali guy can meet someone from Cote d'Ivoire or someone from Cameroon, and there is not a quick connection. We kind of size each other up. Oh, you from Zambia? Oh, okay. Look, to be honest, in this day, in this modern day, things have gotten so better. So Africans are able to do, able to look beyond the names, the tags, but we know that there is an issue of us seeing each other separately from another because, one, we've been tagged names, we've been given names by Europeans, and we know we have, of course, we have accepted it. We have not changed it, and we take so much pride in these names, which subconsciously separates us because we know how we are not connected because we don't feel connected because of the tags that we have on each other. You are from Cote d'Ivoire and I am from Sierra Leone. That alone makes us different in our mindset. Meanwhile, the reality of the fact is that we are the same. So what I'm saying is, because we already have these things going on in Africa and we bring it even here, it makes it easier. It makes it easy for us to exert that type of, to show that type of attitude when we meet fellow Blacks, specifically African Americans. And we show this. There are several reasons why we have we don't have a thriving a relationship when it comes to the African diaspora. But from me, one of the major reasons has been, one of the major reasons has to do with this attribute or this innate thing which we all call tribalism. And so if we are able to look beyond our tribes and see each other as fellow Blacks, fellow Africans on the continent, and even when we come here, if we're able to look beyond the Nigeria, Tanzania, if we're able to look beyond Kenya and Rwanda, Mozambique, and just see us as Black people from one continent, I think it would help us. It would make it easier for us. It will make it very easy for us to relate with our fellow Blacks in the African American community. So to answer the question that my brother posed, the question that he asked is, do African Americans look down on Africans? I mean, do Africans look down on African Americans? And I'm going to play the video one more time for those of you who missed it. I'm going to play it one more time, and I'm going to try and address a question that was asked by some friends.
Forward to that.
Do Africans really look down on Black American people?
No, I think Africans, I would say specifically for Nigerians. Nigerians are proudful people. We look down on other Nigerians. So it's not even, and it's not even that we're looking down. We're just always looking up. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not in our purview, we don't see you.
That's a word.
So it's perspective shifts. And so for us, like I tell people all the time, like, because it used to be like when I would meet other African Americans, like they would know nothing about me. Like, oh, so you African? So what, you think you better than us? And I'd be like, listen, man, we think we better than everybody. Because my father would be like, if the Black man does it, do it better. If the white man does it, surpass him. If the Asian man does it, finish him. It's just like, oh.
That's the statement that kills me right there. We think we're better than everybody. It's fine. I mean, that's her perspective. If she's speaking for all Nigerians, that's fine. But I don't think so, because I don't think all Nigerians think that they're better than everybody. Nigerians are awesome. Again, might remember, it's just a name tag. So it's African. So those people in that part of Africa, which we now call Nigeria, are great people. They have very, very, very great attributes and characteristics. And so when it comes off, it's beautiful. They have been able to achieve a lot for themselves and here in the diaspora and on the continent. But that statement is what gets me. We think we're better than everybody. You see, that is my problem. And that is what a lot of Africans carry around. Like that notion, that it's kind of embedded in us. And I don't think it's only Nigerians that feel that way here. I mean, all over the world, like I said, that these people, for so many years now, we now know Nigeria. I'm always going by Africa because, again, these names were given to us. We were not Nigeria, Benin, or Tanzania. It was given to us. So in essence, we are a huge continent of different tribes and different people. So this particular people, she said, I mean, that are now called Nigerians, have great attributes. But what I'm saying is that what she said, we think we're better than everybody. I'm not saying it. She just, I mean, that's what it's scary, but Africans carry that. There's a fine line between pride, arrogance, and confidence. My only worry is that we don't linger towards pride and arrogance by having this great attribute in us as Nigerians or fellow Africans, because it becomes dangerous if we carry these things right with us. We would be coming off. We'll be coming off in a negative way when we meet fellow blacks, and we have shown that. There is a reason why African Americans think that we're better than them. Charlemagne the God did not ask that question out of vacuum. This is something that exists, and African Americans are now walking around snooping and out of nowhere thinking that Africans feel that they're better than us. It's something that they have seen. We kind of show that energy. We give off that energy. And I'm not saying this. My sister just confirmed it. We have this thing in us. And when we see fellow blacks, especially African Americans, we kind of show it. Sometimes we don't even say it, but subconsciously it triggers and it influences our body language, and we show it. So this energy we've kind of shown this energy for a long time. So African Americans have picked it up. Some ask me, why is it not the other way around? Why is it not, do African Americans respect Africans? I say yes. Because in my, 15 some years in this country, of course, some African Americans have shown this respect, but majority have shown their interest in knowing Africa and trying to work with Africans here in America and even on the continent. I've met a lot of African Americans who are going to Africa or here studying, trying to know about Africans, than Africans who are coming here for the sole purpose of learning about African Americans and their history, or going to school and taking a special class to learn about African Americans. The story has always been the other way. African Americans trying to reach out to us. You can argue with me on this all day long, but that is my truth. First of all, they are the majority when it comes to black people. We are minority. Remember too, that because Africans contributed to slavery, the African Americans, some of them know that we participated in slavery. So yes, sometimes, who wouldn't feel bad? Cut them a slack. If the reverse was true, that Africans, let me see my time, I think I'm 15 minutes. If the reverse was true, that Africans, let's say let's play the reverse. Africans are on the continent, African Americans are the aliens, right, coming to Africa. Let's say we are not the aliens coming here, we are in the reverse. But in that story, many centuries ago, Africa has been colonized, right? We've been colonized, most sub-Saharan Africans, countries been colonized for years until date, right? Even though colonization is far gone, some Africans still remain slaves, okay, to some European countries. We know that. France, about 8 African countries are still paying taxes to France. Guess what? The natural resources and the money these African countries make, Togo, Burkina, and Mali, and some of these countries, these francophone speaking countries, They send the money to France. And when they want a piece of their own money, France, please give us some of our money. And then France decides how much interest we pay on that, our own money. The point I'm trying to say is that Europeans colonized us, mentally enslaved us, and that type of enslavement and mental slavery is still existence today. We see it. It's playing out in West Africa, if not anywhere else. We know that at least in West Africa. My point is, let's say that the reason why Europeans enslaved us to the point of what we're seeing today is as a result of African Americans. Let's say that many years ago, African Americans were here. I mean, they were living with Europeans here. The Europeans did not know how to. Maybe they didn't have spices, they didn't have natural resources to kind of boost up their economy, and they were looking for raw materials and stuff like that. So, and let's say African Americans, because they are blacks and because maybe they traveled from Africa many years and settled here, they know the route back to Africa. So let's say they led Europeans to Africa and show them the way to Africa and help Europeans to enslave us and to colonize us. Let's say that's what happened 400 years ago, 600 years ago, whatever. Fast forward after 400 years. We're in Africa and African Americans are coming home, just like the year of return. Last year, a lot of African Americans, Caribbeans went home. Let's say now they are coming home. Do you think that after many years of suffering under colonialism, suffering under colonialism and neocolonialism, don't you think that Africans will have certain resentment towards African Americans? Because guess what? Our forefathers would pass on that information. Guess what? Many years ago, this is what happened. So my great-great-grandfather will pass on the information to my grandfather. My grandfather will pass it on to my father. My father will pass it on to me. So in my heart, I have a thing against African Americans. So anytime I encounter African Americans, even though we are black people, there is that guard. Your people sold us. So we could have that excuse. Actually, that is what is happening in South Africa. The xenophobia. So South African people commit xenophobia against fellow Africans because of whatever reason. My point is, in this case, the African American have the right to feel a certain type of way towards us, because the truth of the matter is that we contributed to their history, which is not a beautiful story. But even out of that ugly story, we know what they've been able to build for themselves and how they've contributed in building such a powerful nation, so that when we come here, we don't have to go through the things that they've already endured. We don't have to campaign and demonstrate to have the right to vote. There are basic things that we enjoy here: freedom of speech, work, diversity, loans, student loan, all the beautiful things that we enjoy here, feel so comfortable living here. We have Africans who have lived here 90 years, 60 years, 40 years, whatever years. Most of us spend our lives here. We spend 95% of our lives in America than in Africa. When we build our mansions in Africa, we probably spend twice, 2 weeks in a year at most. The average African, we spend maybe 2 weeks in the whole year in the mansions that we've built in Africa. We spend most of our lives here. My point is, African Americans, after what our ancestors as an African did to their ancestors, they still went on and helped build a great nation. They've made it out. They made it out with flying colors, and it's evidence for all of us to see. Is it the monument? Is it the jobs? Is it the infrastructure? Is it jobs? Look, in every society, there is the poorest, there is the middle class, there is the upper class, there's poorest, lower class, middle class, upper class, and elite. You have that in the African American community. So do you have it in the African community? So what is there for them to envy about us or to not like us? They don't owe us anything, and as much as we don't owe them anything, but If we consider the fact that we contributed to slavery, then we owe them something, which is an apology. We owe them enough gratitude. We owe them respect, at least. We don't have, again, like I said, we don't have to walk around saluting all Africans, but your energy when you meet an African American should show. At the workplaces, we know the tension that goes on there because we show these type of energy that we're better than them somehow, because we have culture and we don't see their culture looking the same as us. And so we think that because we have this culture and because we've been fed some type of news headlines and we watch news and we see bad things happening. And so we classify all of them as ABC. Meanwhile, every negative attribute or every negative attitude we see in the African American community, we have about 1,000 of them in Africa. There's nothing the African American does here that we don't have 1,000, like multiple times of. Talk about lazy, talk about craziness, talk about bad attitude, talk about whatever it is, violence. I want an African to, if you're watching now, the number is 815-277-5047. If you want to chime in, 815-277-5047. If there's any African watching me now and thinks that what I'm saying is inaccurate, please, here is a platform, here's an open platform. Let's have a cordial debate. So, like I said, if anything, we Africans owe the African Americans something. Because for those of you who ask me, why is it that why aren't you asking them also to respect us? I already said here that they've shown a lot of respect. How? Check out the number of African festivals or Afro events, Afro party, festival, whatever, restaurant. They patronize our businesses. They come to our festivals. They come to our events. Let's ask ourselves, is the reverse true? The fact that they are going to Africa, the fact that they give us Pan-Africanism. Africa, African Americans, diasporans, African diasporans, African Americans and Caribbeans went to Africa and gave us Pan-Africanism. There are evidences that their leaders and some of the people in their community have shown, because nobody will try to learn about you, will try to come to your country, will try to come to your festival if they don't respect you or dislike you. They may not say it to you, but the fact that they're shown up in your community, in your space, means that they don't have any hatred towards you. So I can confidently say that I don't have to think that the African Americans dislike us or disrespect us. I know a lot of them respect us. Some don't. And to those who don't, this is a time for us to reconcile. Those who don't, for many reasons, maybe because of our ancestors, Africans ancestors contribution to slavery. My word to you today is, I stand on behalf of my ancestors, and I render my unqualified apology to African Americans and Caribbeans for the contribution of my ancestors to slavery and to your story. In Black History Month, I am very humbled to say, I want to take the opportunity as I speak on these things to say that I am deeply sorry, and the reason, and I'm doing this to show that I find it necessary that I render an unqualified apology to my fellow brothers in the African American sisters on behalf of my ancestors, because it's necessary. So that if you're an African American who hate an African because of this or any other thing, this is the time that we start reconciling. We start looking at each other as brothers and sisters. That whatever transpired in the past, we should try and let it go. But I want to say we should try and let it go so that African Americans, those who don't respect Africans and like Africans, let's start looking at things differently. The Africans you see today do not hate African Americans. No. But we have some type of information once we come here, and things change. It affects our attitude. It's not about you. Sometimes it's the way you act and do things which we are not used to, the culture difference. And sometimes in our head, America is America is heaven. America is America. Like when we watch TV in Ghana, and America is very good. I mean, when show anything you see about America is great when you're in Africa. So in our head, wow, we're going to heaven. Before I came here, to be honest, I saw America like, you know what I'm saying, like paradise. But anyway, a lot of Africans see that. I mean, and not just Africans, but if you're outside America and you see America on TV, it's all glamour, it's power, it's victory, it's beautiful people, it's hip hop, all these beautiful things, you rock into Snoop Dogg, you rock into Dr. Dre, yeah, we do that, we copy the swag of African Americans. Actually, in Africa, Africans, most African youth, even today, most of the top artists, from Wizkid to Davido to everybody, to all the top artists in entertainment in Africa, their swag is just like the African American swag. It's copied from head to toe, period. The mannerism, the movement, is so. We love African Americans, but when we come here, it changes. Our attitude change, and there are reasons why. And I think that all I'm saying is that as Africans, we have to be open and honest. It's not about shaming. It's not about divisiveness. But if you love your brother and your sister, you should be able to meet them in a loving way and open up and say, you know what, there were some mistakes that were made, but I want to take this opportunity to apologize for what happened, and then we can move on. Sometimes I like to liken the story of us to Jacob and Esau. And I want to read this comment before I continue. I would have to disagree with you on that, Senna. The tag narrative supposedly that was given to us is from what my personal experience has been with other Africans as a whole, especially Cameroonians, as a European from Cameroon. Okay, I don't know what you disagree with me on, but you feel free to call in to express your view. Is 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047. Feel free to ring in to express your opinion. She says, the finger pointing away from ourselves again. I don't, and Gas Chosals. I really don't understand, but thank you for your comments. Great conversation from Priscilla. Let me see here. Anne Gastros, please. I'm not getting the point. It's fine to disagree with me. Let's make it clear what exactly you disagree with me on, and I can address it. Okay. Well, so again, this is not for me. It's not about finger pointing. It's my truth. It's what I observed, and I feel like addressing it. So if you feel like addressing it openly and publicly too, this is the time for you to do it. And I sincerely believe that as Africans, we have the moral right and the moral responsibility to reach out to African Americans in a respectful manner, showing love and making them understand that we actually regret the past. Because sometimes when we come off in a certain way, it's kind of like rubbing salt in the wound, right? It's kind of rubbing it in their face, because there is hurt. Whether you believe it or not, there is hurt. There's a lot of hurt in the African American community. Not everybody, but a lot of them. There's a lot of hurt, understandably so. I will be hurt too. I am actually hurt too. Okay, as Africans, a lot of us are hurt. Why? Because Africa has not given us the opportunity to thrive. Has not given a lot of us the opportunity to thrive the way we're supposed to. So we come here. So the hurt is everywhere. And so I was going to tell a story of Jacob and Esau. If you believe in God and if you believe in the Bible, the story of Jacob and Esau goes like this. Jacob did not necessarily plan the plots to steal his brother's birthright. It was all orchestrated by his mother. Jacob had nothing to do with it. He was only complicit. He rolled with the plan. So somehow he was part of it. He just received. His mother said, look, just sit down and let me cook the plan. Just roll with the plan. Don't say nothing. Long story short, Jacob takes away his brother's birthright. His brother was mad. Whatever happened between the two of them, between all these years, they all survived. Jacob went and made it. Esau made it. The intent to steal the birthright from Esau for Jacob was not meant to make Esau prosper. It was meant to hurt Esau. It was stealing from Esau and giving to somebody else. Something that rightfully belonged to Esau. Somebody planned it. The other person was just a participant, which is Jacob. After many years, the two brothers had made it. Jacob decides to go meet his brother. Guess who decides to go meet his brother? The one who was part of the plot, the one who, I'll say, committed the act, right? The one who was who played a part in the wrong that was done. He said, I'm going to meet my brother. The one who was the recipient of the plot, of the negative plot, is also going to meet his brother. But Jacob say, let me go and meet my brother, but I'm not going to meet him to say, bro, let's move on. I have made it. You've made it. Boom. Let's move on already. What's up? It's 2022. Why are you crying over spilled milk? Whatever. No. Jacob found it in him to say, my brother Esau, I wronged you many years ago. Forgive me. Remember, I said that even though Jacob was not the one that cooked the plan and implemented and organized it and all of that, even though he played a small part, in him he found some guilt. I am sure he probably also apologized on behalf of his mother, who was the master planner of this evil act. But my point is that Jacob, who was part of this, of the suffering of Esau, because Esau did not get his life was not as smooth. He had to toil to make it in life. Had it not been his birthright stolen, he would have had an easier life. So for the pain that Esau went through, Jacob kind of sat down and realized that I've caused my brother pain, even though he was not there to see the pain that Esau went through. But he went ahead and said, my brother, I caused you some pain many years ago, and I am sorry. That's it. That's it. The two brothers just made up. And a lot of time, that's all there is to it. A lot of time, that's all that is needed. As Africans, we just have to realize that we were complicit. Whatever you can dice it any way you want. We contributed to slavery. We contributed to the story of the African Americans here. And so when we have come here to, first of all, we didn't come to find them. We didn't look for them after contributing to selling them to Europeans. We didn't come to search for them and to help them in their struggle. And after they've lived it and survived and thrived through blood and sweat and built everything, we come here and somehow in our attitude, we can show that we're better than everybody. And that better than everybody attitude, which was said in that video that I played, is what some Africans show when they meet African Americans. And so Charlemagne, he responded well. That's the attitude that we should all have, the attitude to do better, the attitude to strive. But as an African, I can pick something from what my sister said. When it comes to Nigerians, we look down on everybody. We look down on fellow Nigerians. Well, if you're a Nigerian, you know there's an issue when it comes to certain tribes not liking other tribes. The rifts of tribes button heads exist in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, Ghana, and other African countries. And so I'm just saying, in conclusion, that these conversations that I've been trying to have, whether on this platform or within the African community, has nothing to do with Africans or has nothing to do with divisiveness at all. And I say this again, there is no way as a people, there is no way that we can thrive and move forward as African diasporans, just like you see in the Asian community, in the European community, in the Indian community, Hispanic community. There's no way we can thrive and move forward amicably if we don't address some of these things that's haunted us for a long time. And I sincerely believe that if a lot of Africans, especially Africans in the diaspora, are organizing seminars, conferences, and bringing different Black folks together, right? Folks that make up the African diaspora, bringing us together and engaging and try to do this reach out, this bridging up conversations. If I wish we can do more of that, because this is how we can move forward. Until we are able to heal, until we are able to talk and render apology and accept these apologies to each other. How do we move forward? We want to move forward, but I urge African Americans to keep working. Those who work with Africans and patronize our businesses and our culture and love us, keep doing that. I personally appreciate that. We appreciate it, and there are a lot of Africans who also, do that. And so let's keep the positive side of this conversation. Let's keep it going. But the majority that think that, well, they don't respect us too. AAs don't respect us, and so why should I respect them? I say that is where I have an issue. That's where I don't agree with, because we as Africans owe Africans a lot. We African, continental Africans coming here owe the African American community a lot. If not for anything, the fact that we contributed to slavery. The fact that today I was watching on social media, the guy who invented cell phone is Black. I never knew it. Actually, let me play 2 minutes of this video. I literally want to play 2 minutes of this video. I had never seen this one before.
She says, "Are you a real inventor?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm an inventor." And I sort of talked about cell phones, and I invent cell phones. She says, "Well, I thought all Black inventors were dead." No, I think one of the greatest stories that ever been told is the contribution of Black Americans in the 60s and the 70s, and the contributions that they've made in technology. To be able to teach young people that the scientists, engineering, and mathematics are the foundation.
Okay, so that's if not for anything at all, the inventor of the traffic light is African American. Well, if you use a cell phone and you are an African, if you don't have any reason to say respect, or for those who don't, right? For those Africans who don't yet and who don't get it, at least if you have a cell phone, you should know where your respect should be going. Somebody invented that, and you have a cell phone. So I just got a message that, well, African Americans also look down on us, so we should get on with our, we should move on and move on from our pettiness. And that's what I'm saying. How do you move on if you have not healed? I made this analogy earlier. Even a broken car, If a car is not moving, a car was made to move. If it's not moving, it's either it's parked or it's broken down. Let's say if a car is broken down, it needs to be fixed. If there are debris under the car, or the engine is not acting right, something is not making the car move. Because as long as the car is made to move, it's supposed to move. So if we're ready to move the car, it's supposed to. But if it's not, then something is going wrong. You can't just say move. There is something that is clogging, that is blocking or obstructing an ignition, a tool, something in the car that's not making it move. So there is no way we can repair and move and unite as a big Black community if we don't confront some of these things that separate us. And the things that separate us is basically culture. One party feeling that they're not loved and respected, which is more from the African American community, which is rightfully so, and which is true, that some Africans look down on them. To be straight to my brother's question, Charlemagne's question, it is true. Some Africans feel they're better than African Americans. Some Africans actually do so, and I just mentioned some of the reasons why. And I'm saying that we shouldn't let those things that make us feel that we're better than other people continue lingering. We have to look at things from a very objective standpoint. And even if some African American disrespect you or look down on you or show some type of disrespect, look at the many other African Americans who don't. Because as Africans, we know how beneficial the African American is to us in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. And if you're an African, you know what I'm talking about. So if some African Americans show disrespect to us, yeah, that's some ignorant one, right? Just like we have ignorant ones too in our communities. So what's the deal? But we know majority of African Americans, in my opinion, do not disrespect or look down on us. Why? Because a lot of them have shown that they like our culture and are trying to know us. And even I say it over and over, even if they do, there is a reason. And for that reason alone, that one reason alone, which is pertaining to us, our ancestors' contribution to slavery, we, the descendants of those who contributed, those who partook in that act, we are the descendants, have to show the descendants of the recipients of the diabolic act, who are African Americans now, that we actually regret those actions. If you can't say it directly, your actions should speak it. And so, yes, if some show disrespect to us, they have a reason. What reasons do we have to not? So, for those who are saying it's a two-way streak, what reasons do we have to disrespect the African American or to look down upon them? What reasons do we have? What legitimate reason do we stand on? If they have, let's say they initiated it, some of them initiated the disrespect, they stand on a legitimate reason, which we are guilty of. If you don't believe me, here is a chief in Ghana accepting and acknowledging their participation in slavery.
We are very privileged to be with you, particularly our brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and the diaspora, and the people from all over Africa. Our brothers from all over Africa. I wish at this point, particularly to apologize deeply on behalf of the chiefs and people of Gold Coast and Ghana for the atrocities, the cruelty, the inhuman treatment that were committed 400 years ago by my ancestors during the Atlantic slave trade. Where over 400 years ago, millions of our brothers and sisters were captured, sold and transported under inhumane and cruel circumstances. Through Elmina Castle, across to the Caribbean, and to the New World. On behalf of the chiefs and people of Ghana, I do render unqualified apology, deep from the bottom of our hearts. Deep from our bottom of hearts. But one thing that I want you to be aware of, it was not without resistance.
So there goes a chief in Ghana accepting and acknowledging our participation in slavery, and he rendered his apology. This was done, I think, sometime in 2019 during the year of return. That was also 400 years of slavery. I stand to be corrected if that was the exact year, but if my memory serves me right, this was done in 2019, and this is one of the chiefs that was representing other chiefs and rendering his unqualified apology to our contribution as Africans to the transatlantic slavery, which is now the history of the African American here, who have contributed immensely to the building of the United States and who have paved the way for Africans to come here and benefit of all the things that we benefit off of. In addition, they have invented things for us to benefit off of, not just us, the entire globe. In addition, they've given us pop culture that everybody replicates or copies, including the African youth, majority of the African youth, including our pop stars. A lot of them are getting deals now. Afrobeat is getting a lot of deals now here. The pop culture is accepting and helping Afrobeat grow. Come on now. What else? They gave us, they help us, or they gave us Pan-Africanism. What else should the African American do for us as Africans to show that they care and they love us and they respect us? And they are trying to contribute to us, even though, to come to think of it, they don't really have to. They don't owe us anything. We owe them everything. We owe them something. So again, for those who think that it should be a two-way streak, yes, I agree. But if it's not, we have the moral right as Africans to reach out. Respect. You don't have to go about shouting it. Just show it. Let it reflect in your body language. It does not matter what type of African American you meet. Just know morally, you and I ancestors did some very bad things to their ancestors. It's 6:20. It's Black History Month. Today is February 15th, 2020. This is the special. This was just a special edition of the Progressive Mind Show. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Black love. Black love. Is it any different from any other race or ethnic group? It's the traditional African, right? The continental African love, the way we show love, the way we express love in our marriages, in our relationships, in our families. Is it any different from that of the Caribbean or the African American? Is it also, and if you combine all of Black love, and if you connect it to the African diaspora, is the collective Black love different from any other race? And in this conversation, we'll be looking at family values and some of the things that we have lost as a people, some of the great values that we cannot quantify, that we have given up based off our transformation and our involvement as a people. On that note, I would like to thank everyone that has contributed to the show, this special edition of the Progressive Minds. Do Africans look down on African Americans? I say yes, some Africans look down on African Americans. They have reasons. I'll say whether the reasons are valid or not, it is a truth. It is a painful truth. And as a people, we need to work through it. We need to not show this attitude. Do Africans also, some Africans look down, do some African Americans also look down on Africans? Yes. Should they stop it? Yes. If they don't stop, should we continue reciprocating that? No. We should keep showing love because, as I said, we owe them everything. And I know that as we show them love, as we show them respect, as we acknowledge the African American, as we acknowledge ourselves and now look down or show that we're looking down, I believe that it would help and make our moving forward together, our unity, more fluid and faster, because the African diaspora needs to unite. The reason why the continent of Africa did not unite has been because majority of the reason, most of the reason, a big factor to our disunity in Africa had to do with tribalism. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah would have given Africa unity, including other factors. He failed. But guess one of the major things, one of the big things that influenced the disunity of Africans, which caused Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to not achieve his goal, or which caused Africa to not achieve that unity, was tribalism. Everybody thinking that theirs is special and they are special than another group and they want to hold on to it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to help us, because other races have shown that if you drop these things, this attitude of I'm better than you, better than you, if we drop this habit, it will go a long way. I hope that we can work towards a better united African diaspora community. Thank you so much. And I thank you for being part of the conversation. This has been a special edition of the Progressive Mind Show. Our regular programming continues tomorrow at 6 p.m. I want to thank everyone once again for being part of the conversation. Let's keep it going. I'm open to all kinds of debates on this subject matter every time, anywhere. Thank you again. God bless you, and God help the African diaspora to become a more united and a more better and bigger community, starting from today, starting from this year, Black History Month, February 15th, 2022. Have a wonderful evening. This has been your host, Alinko, with the Progressive Minds. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. We'll be here with our co-host and our guest discussing Black love. Have a good night.